welcome back to another episode of the Whisky Diaries. My name is Martin Lang, and today we're here at Death Taxes. We're going to talk about a project that we always wanted to do, me personally as well, and we are actually very honored and grateful to have this opportunity. We're going to introduce the Death Taxes Whisky series for collaboration with the Lark. So the Lark decided to create their approaches just to do the first release of an idea that they came up with that is called the Whisky Bar series. And we, Cobbler and Death Taxes were the first ones to do this collaboration, and it was going to keep on going with some of the best whiskey bars in Australia. For those of you who doesn't know much about the Lark is the first whiskey distillery to ever start in Tasmania since 1838. Until 1838, in the early 1800s, Tasmania was supposed to be a place that was supposed to be producing all the bread and the supply of barley to Sydney and the rest of Australia. Now, apparently someone forgot to mention this to the Tasmanians, and the Tasmanians started actually making a lot of whiskey. At the time, before 1838, there were 16 legal distilleries, and there was a few others that were illegal distilleries as well. Now, I keep saying 1838 because in that date in particular is when the governor decided to ban whiskies. Apparently the story goes that the Lady Jane, his wife, was not very happy with how men transform by drinking whiskey. So she convinced the governor just to ban all whiskey production in the island. The only way you can produce whiskey is in industrial types sizes, basically about 13,000 liters or more. So obviously for small distilleries and stuff, that was practically impossible. So the Lark Distillery, or Bill Lark at the time, in 1988, apparently the story goes, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have heard this story. I heard it from his own mouth. He was fly fishing with his wife and a couple of mates, and then after that, catching a very beautiful fish. They were cooking it. Someone opened a bottle of whiskey, and Bill actually decided to ask, why aren't we producing whiskey? It's a very fair question, considering that Tasmania is almost a carbon copy of Scotland. They have very similar weather. They have a lot of peat bogs all around. They have pristine water readily available everywhere. Basically, a great combination to produce great whiskey. So after finding out and doing a little bit of research, he found out that they basically banned the production of whiskey in Tasmania. So one of the questions that Bill Lark gets asked a lot, and we asked him that personally as well, how hard was that? And apparently it wasn't that hard at all, because people in Tasmania were dying to get some good whiskey produced locally. So he got help of the current government at the time, and by 1992 the Lark, they bought a $65 Australian, in that time would have been like a couple $100 here, a little tiny still, and they started producing whiskey around 1992. Since then, Bill Lark the Lark Whiskey Distillery has won countless awards, and it's a beautiful, beautiful distilled whiskey. It has a very particular oiliness and a very particular flavor profile, because in Tasmania, as we said, the barley at the time was barely produced to be sold as bread, or to make bread, or to make beer for that matter. So the original Lark and the Lark that we drink nowadays is produced with brewer's barley. Brewer's barley is, like the name says, is a barley that is produced to make beer instead of whiskey. So it has a different way of different acidity content as well, and it produces a different type of whiskey that is very different to what you would get from like a proper malt for distiller's purpose. Now, this collaboration, the guys from the Lark, their approaches, we had with Cobbler and Death Taxes a great relationship with them, and we've always been a great supporter. So when they approached us, it was actually it was an honor for us. They took us to Tasmania, so the four of us went to the distillery, and we sat down with Chris, the master distiller at Lark, and he showed us through we tasted on that day, if I remember correctly, obviously it was a long day, we took about 15 different barrels, and we ended up picking up one that was actually an experimental barrel. Chris had this barrel in his little laboratory behind the warehouse. Like it's actually kind of like a container, basically. It's awesome. So we sat down there, and he actually told us, look, I have something that we've been experimenting with that I think that you really like. And this is what he had. Is the first lark that is 120% peated. 120%, how does that make sense? Well, it's 100% peated in the old peater that they have, like basically just to peat whiskey, the barley, and then the other 20% in the new one that they just recently installed. Now, the peat that they used is like Tasmanian peat, and the Tasmanian peat is slightly different to what you would get from Scotland. It actually has more like a wood fire type of smell compared to more like that iodine or that stronger smoke that you get from Scotland. The whiskey itself is about 2 to 3 years old. I'm pretty sure it's at 3 years old, and then we decided to bottle it at 50%. We wanted to actually do it at cask strength, but Chris recommended that it would be better. It would have a little bit more length if we just drop it out to 50%. So the whiskey itself, when we first tried, was a 59 to 60% ABV. Now, there was only this one is 200 bottles. We've got the custom-made box and a custom-made bottle with a beautiful logo. Just going to put it. So 217 bottles ever made. Box here. And we got them as well. They offered just to obviously put the logo in the front. Our lion as a logo in golden foil, which is, let me just take that label out so you can see it. Oops. But yeah, it was an incredible trip as well. Tasmania, for if anybody has never been, is absolutely stunning. The food and the wine and the whiskey, everything is incredible. Also, we did get the chance to go to the Lark Distillery as well. We did a video of it as well. So, but anyway, so without further ado, we're just gonna taste this whiskey, which is obviously I already have tried it, but it's good to just to refresh it. Now, this whiskey already has sold out in their website directly from them, but we do have about 20 to 25 bottles available for purchase with information on the link below in the description. The bottle is a classic Lark bottle that is a 500 ml bottle. There it goes. The cask that it was aged on, it was an ex-brandy cask. So basically, they put the peated barley in a brandy cask. Something that is worth mentioning as well for the Lark, that is very different to the counterparts in Scotland, is that they decide to age all the whiskies in quarter casks, basically. So they're like 1/4 size of a butt or half the size of a normal American. So you're looking at 100 and 120 liters casks. What that does is, as we said before and we talked before, is the smaller the cask, the more contact you get. So the quicker you extract the flavor from the wood. So that allows the Lark to be fairly young, like between 2 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years old, and still have a lot of flavor and deliver a lot of punch, which is something that is really, really distinctive about the Lark itself. This one in particular, the beautiful thing about it is you have the tasting notes on the front. As always, we always say that it gives you an idea, but tasting is very subjective. So in this particular tasting notes, it says that you've got fresh oak, candied lemon, like a little bit of a vanilla, and the pine nut that will come from the wood, and then you've got like brandy notes and orange oils kind of thing. Those are tasting notes that basically matches what Lark usually is. The smokiness is not very predominant in this whiskey on the nose. Like, you can smell it, but you can definitely smell the citrus and the oils that comes from citrus and lemon peel and orange peel as well. It's definitely on the nose. After that, when you let it open a little bit more, there's a little bit of small smoke coming out. A little bit of water will do great things to this whiskey as well. But first of all, as always, have a little bit of a sip first, and then just decide if you really need water or not. That's delicious whiskey. Yeah. Oh, you can definitely taste the vanilla. There's a sweetness and there's that viscosity that Lark is very famous for in the middle of the palate. And then when it finishes, there are actually a lot of pear notes and a lot of fruitiness coming through. That is very, very interesting as well. The peat and the smokiness doesn't come but till the very last. It's not a whiskey that you go like Lafroig or Caolila or any of the Isla whiskies that you can basically get a punch in the face of smoke and you go like, oh my god, it's like smoke, smoke, smoke. This is a lot more subtle and it's just very, very, very light but very delicious at the same time. So again, it's a great whiskey and we're very, very honoured to have been able to do a collaboration with this calibre of distillery. Obviously the Lark is one of the greatest distilleries in Tasmania, if not the greatest probably at the moment. Yeah, I would like to thank them as well for the opportunity, and you guys will let you know when we're going to launch to be able to sell the whiskey. Just read the link below. It will sell out pretty quick as well. This one got sold out in like a couple of days when it got released last week. But yeah, anyway guys, thank you for listening, and thank again the Lark, and Slàinte mhath.